Well, after about 8 years of service with my Holley carburetor on my Corvette, it was time for a rebuild, and I got to thinking that maybe I'd get a new carburetor and at the same time get one that was a little more tunable. And so I actually, one of my friends turned me on to Quick Fuel. He happens to have several old Ford muscle cars and Mustangs, and he's using Quick Fuel on all of them, and he's really happy with them. And he got to show me some of the features on there, and I was rather impressed with it. Started doing a little research online and came up with this SS-650 double pumper from Quick Fuel. And I'm going to make this video to kind of show you some of the differences between the Holley and the Quick Fuel, and why I was attracted to this one because of the tuning features it has. This is the Holley I've been using on my Corvette for about 8 years now, and I had to do some pretty extensive modifications for it to work properly with my single plane intake and the cam that I was using. It's a 80670, it's a 670 CFM Street Avenger, and as you'll notice here, I have a black billet metering block. I bought that to actually make the idle feed restriction adjustable. So in this one, it has a larger idle feed restriction than normal, and one of the reasons I bought that billet plate there is I wanted to be able to tune it without destroying my factory calibration. I didn't want to drill out or fill in any of the air bleeds or anything. And it's got some other modifications that I had to do to it, and it really worked well, but I couldn't help but think that this Quick Fuel might actually operate a little bit better and definitely more tunable. And so I'm going to show you some of the tuning features on it. The first thing that you notice, and hopefully you can see this in video, you'll notice that there's idle air bleeds and high-speed air bleeds that are changeable. All these are jets that can be changed on all four barrels, and also four-corner idle mixture adjustment. Something else is kind of neat, a feature I'm not going to really use, but you can plumb the fuel in from either side of the fuel bowls. And in this particular case here, it came with plugs on the bell crank side of it, and on this side it came with actual inlets that I'm actually going to take those out because I'm using AND fittings on mine. This one has an electric choke, and it's a double pumper. It has down leg boosters, and it's same as a Holley 4150. You'll notice it has metering blocks on both primary and secondary sides. These metering blocks have power valve channel restrictions that can be changed. It also has idle feed restrictions that can be changed, and for those reasons, that's why I bought the carburetor. And these are fairly expensive, but most all the carburetors nowadays are really expensive. This one 8 years ago was $337, and now it's upwards of $400, maybe a little more. This one here sells for about $548 on the JEG's website, or the Summit website, it's the same price. But I was rather impressed with it, and I'm going to give it a try. And it's be my first Quick Fuel I've ever had, but just looking at it too, it's so much smoother. The Venturis are much smoother. Actually, what made me mad about this one, when I got it, the bell crank was actually bent a little bit, and brand new right out of the box, and so it was obviously dropped at the factory somehow, and it bent this bell crank over a little bit, and I actually just, instead of sending it back, I just straightened it and used it as it was. And this was also a vacuum secondary carburetor, and I thought that being my car has a 411 rear end, it's fairly light, and has a single plane intake, and I just thought that a double pumper would probably work a little better for it. So I went ahead and got the double pumper SS-650, and I got it from JEG's for $548. Now, pretty nice thing that they have on the Quick Fuel. First of all, it comes really packaged up well, much better than the Holleys, in my opinion. And so you don't get one damaged. And this thing was beautiful right out of the box. absolutely no problems with the shipping part of it. What I thought was kind of cool is they give you a little card, tells you what the carburetor is, and also tells you what the main jets are, the idle air bleeds, what sizes they are, what size nozzles you have in the primary and secondary of the double pumper, and thought that was kind of nice to have that. It has a fairly decent manual. It's not all that great. It's about 2-3 pages long. Shows you the basics on how to adjust the choke and idle mixture and idle speed and stuff like that. It's really not that great, but if you had any experience putting on carburetors and setting them up, it should be no problem for you. Something else kind of neat about it too is they give you a couple rods and some washers and a couple extra cotter keys, and what that does, it allows you to change the opening rate of the secondaries on the manual secondaries. You see this link right here, and I think the one that's in there is probably what they call the 60%, which just from looking at it, looks like that the primaries have to be open about 60% before the secondaries start to open. But there's a link in here that changes it to 40%, and there's a link that changes it from 1 to 1, meaning that when the primaries open, immediately the secondaries start to open. So I'm going to leave that as is because I think that'll be a proper tune for it. Also, the sight glass to set the fuel level is pretty large, much larger than the Holleys, and it already comes with a clear one in there, and it actually has them on both sides, which is pretty cool. And on these, you set them with the fuel halfway up in the glass. So haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I'm sure it's going to work fine. Fuel level set just like the Holleys. 5/8 box-in wrench and a screwdriver will do that for you. I think I mentioned the 4-corner idle. It's got the this is the idle speed screw here. Choke's adjustable. Really nice looking billet parts on here. Red anodized base plate. Really nice looking. It's got a port for the PCV valve, and one port for full-time vacuum, and then actually 2 ports for timed vacuum for your vacuum advance on your distributor. And really looks like a nice piece, and I can't wait to try it. In my opinion, I think they're a lot better than a Holley. You have to go with a Holley if you're going to get all of these tuning features. You got to step up to like the HP series, which are like $900 to $1,000 and something ridiculous like that. Something else I bought too. It's always hard to get a decent linkage on these carburetors, and so I was using a Holley one that bolted on the back, actually on the wrong side of it here. But I had a bracket that bolted right here on the back mounting bolt that held the throttle cable, and mine's a manual, so that I didn't have to worry about any kickdown linkage or anything. And it worked okay, but it always wanted to slip a little bit, and so I just thought I would invest in a new one, a new return spring and cable bracket that's fully adjustable. I was really impressed with it. It's made by Jegs, or somebody makes it for them. Anyway, they got their name on it there, but the actual springs can be adjusted. It's got a socket head screw on it, so your spring rate can be changed, and then of course your throttle can be adjusted for wide open throttle. With this screw here, you just loosen that up and move it back and forth, and it gets it so that when your foot's on the flat on the floor, your throttle is wide open, and it just bolts right on to 2 of the mounting studs like so, and then this hole here takes this arrangement they have here. It's got a bolt, puts the 2 sides together, but your spring will go actually in that hole there. So I'll probably most likely make a follow-up video of how the installation came out. It's like I said, I'm really happy with it. It's really a nice looking piece, and I don't think you can beat the tunability of it, all the different circuits you can tune without having to drill any holes or anything. So if you're interested in buying one, I would certainly go on the Quick Fuel website. It's really a nice site. It's got a lot of information in there. They have a lot of different models to choose from, and I just thought this one here would probably be the nicest one for what I'm doing. So I hope this video helps you select a new carburetor if you're interested.